decades of severe weather experience here for you when it counts. This is Doc Deason's Weather, live now.
Good morning, everybody. It is 5:30. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying dry, especially folks down across the southern counties of East Texas. That's where we've really been watching the worst of the effects of Laura, and that seems to be where that is setting up this morning. So we've got quite a bit of heavy rainfall. The overall storm itself is just a little bit east of the Texas-Louisiana border, and that bodes better for us in East Texas just because it keeps us further away from the main area of circulation. But it still is going to bring a lot of rainfall, already is, to the southeastern parts of East Texas, and it's going to be a heck of a day for folks in northwestern and western parts of the state of Louisiana. So I did tell you we were going to hop on and look around some this morning. A lot of folks are up at about this point, so I figured we would do a little bit of looking around ourselves and just at least update you on what we have so far. So let's take a peek here at the computer. Let's pull up the radar real fast. Here's the radar out of Shreveport. Shreveport radar, believe it or not, went down yesterday afternoon. They had to fly a part in from I'm not sure where, but the technicians were able to get that back up and going. Thank goodness. What a time to have your radar go down, and obviously those folks were working hard and scrambling to try to get that back up and going. It's a good thing, too, because the Fort Polk radar has gone down, as has the Lake Charles radar, no doubt from the effects of the wind and whatnot from Laura as she came through last night. Here's where we are and what we have. The center of circulation not nearly as well defined as it was just an hour or so ago. That's not really surprising with the system continuing to be torn apart due to the friction of the ground. When it's running over that nice warm water in the Gulf, it has a little bit freer environment to run, and of course you also kind of cut the fuel supply off. But the thing will continue to spin down over the next couple of hours. The problem, though, is that there is a ton of wind and momentum already lined up inside of this thing, up to 150-mile-an-hour winds last night before it came ashore, and it is continuing to spin that down, but it's going to take a while to do so. We've got flash flood warnings out for the southeasternmost parts of East Texas down into Sabine County along Toledo Bend Reservoir. You can see here the stronger winds are in kind of that outer section of the center of the circulation, going to just kind of ease over across Toledo Bend here. Winds are going to be much stronger in this pocket over Fort Polk South and Leesville and that South Toledo Bend area. So that's going to be where the worst of the wind will probably be situated there and points to the east of that. But that as those bands wrap around, it gets a lot of rainfall over the Sabine County area there near Hemphill and Milam. And St. Augustine County is also receiving some significant rainfall this morning as well. What you will notice, though, is the pretty stark contrast from, say, areas like Nacogdoches further to the west, and the just slightly eastern track on this thing is going to have a significant effect on the rainfall and the conditions that we see across areas like Jacksonville, Tyler, Wood County, and points further to the west. We knew there was going to be a pretty stark line of demarcation because of this thing. But it appears that line has, of at least a little bit easier time, has shifted a little further into the Smith and Cherokee County area, as opposed to what we were thinking as late as last night, since the system itself, the center of it, is a little bit further to the east. So we'll still get some rainfall and some pretty gusty winds at times. The wind advisory continues out for most of East Texas that's not already within the tropical storm warning or the hurricane warning. But it is something we're going to be having to kind of reorient ourselves as far as main concerns go and the overall intensity of things. Here's how the Weather Service has got they've got the wind advisory in place now. They've pulled Smith County and Cherokee County out of the tropical storm warning, We have also had the flash flood watch trimmed back somewhat. That'll include now, folks, Upshur County down to Gregg County, Rusk County, Nacogdoches and Angelina County, and everybody further to the west, to the east rather. Further west, lesser effects from the system. Further east, greater effects from the system here as we go through the next couple of hours. Rainfall totals today for us probably going to run in the inch to 4, maybe as much as 5 inches of rainfall, believe it or not, for the extreme eastern counties of East Texas. We'll run some 5-inch totals, as you can see there. Anything in kind of that tannish shade is going to be running close to 4.5 to 5 inches. But again, the rainfall totals overall drop significantly as you move further to the west, which is what we've been advertising for the past couple of days. But it nonetheless looks like we're going to have some lower amounts than we had expected as late as last night due to the slightly eastward push of the system over into Louisiana. And that'll be good news for folks who were concerned. Not so good news for folks who were hoping for some rainfall. I know we've got both sets of people out there this morning. But anyway, we'll continue to watch the system. It is going to definitely cause a lot of power outages. That's the thing I'm most concerned with across these deep East Texas counties near the center of circulation and the better wind field. And so as we go through the morning, I think that's going to be a larger and larger concern for those folks with these winds running in the easily in the 50 to 70 mile an hour range out in the deep East Texas area as this center passes just to the east of you guys this morning, and then we'll gradually move those stronger winds up closer to the I-20 corridor, closer to Shreveport. So Carthage, you'll be seeing a bit stronger winds as the morning progresses, as will folks in center, but the system itself on a larger scale will be weakening as it comes further to the north. So gives us at least some good news there. Obviously, the rainfall. Some folks were really, like I said, really wanting to see that, or really wanting to see some good rain at least. And the wind, though, has been the big concern. So I think we end up dodging a bullet as far as most of East Texas goes, just as far as the severity of the situation from a strong winds perspective. But there will still be plenty, I think, of power outages and whatnot due to the amount of wind that is still in the system and the amount of rain that's going to be coming down. It's going to take less and less wind to knock trees down in these deep East Texas counties because the ground is going to be so saturated, and we'll be having to kind of shovel through that over the next couple of days. And I hope we're able to get power restored within 3 or 4 days time in some of these spots. I know back when we had Hurricane Rita in 2005, we had areas down along Toledo Bend that were out of power for a couple of weeks, it seemed like. And so that's going to be the exception rather than the rule. But just know that in those areas that are right along the border with Louisiana, there's going to be a lot of significant power outages there. And those really the same areas that we've been talking about for the past couple of days, with the exception of maybe the Nacogdoches and Lufkin areas, which are going to be more on the fringes of this due to that slightly eastward jog in the track of the storm, which is unfortunate for those folks in Louisiana, but it is definitely something that's fortunate for us here in East Texas. All right, as additional warnings and as things come out, we'll come back in as we need to. We'll be posting a lot of stuff on the Facebook and Twitter with still shots and some loops of radar and things like that. But it is going to be a busy morning for those folks in Louisiana. Prayers for them, and obviously we want to be sure that we're mindful of our situation here in East Texas. We'll have some rain off and on. We'll have some pretty good wind for a good piece of the day, especially as we get in towards 8, 9 o'clock for folks along I-20 and points north of there. And as we get into the afternoon hours, especially mid to late afternoon, this thing will have scooted off to the north, and we'll be left with some pretty good wind, but that'll be really the bulk of it. As it'll be a breeze this afternoon heading into this evening, and we're all said and done with this thing by tonight. and we'll set things back up into a little bit more normal setting, as much as you can say that, for 2020 and the COVID situation and the general unrest. We'll get back to some semblance of normalcy tomorrow. But again, if you have questions or concerns, feel free to drop those in the comment section below, or to send me direct messages if you would like to do that. It'll be an interesting morning, but one that I think won't be nearly as troublesome for a larger piece of East Texas than we had feared it was going to be just a day, or especially a couple of days ago, when some of these models were trending in a bit more cumbersome direction for us here. You guys enjoy your morning, and we'll be back here as we need to, off and on throughout the day. Stand by, and thanks for being a part of the page here as we continue to kind of walk you through this system with Laura. Thanks so much, guys.